I'm Teresa Carraggio, and this is Third Paradigm. My topic today is Be the Change is Chump Change. And I'm starting off my series, which is looking at socio-spiritual solutions. This is the solutions part of that. And these will be based off of my book, How to Dismantle an Empire, and looking at what would be the sequel to that, which is How to Build a Commonwealth. But 2/3 or 4 out of 6 sections in my book could be subtitled Abandon Hope, All Ye Who Enter Here, because what they're really out to do is to discourage you, to absolutely positively convince you that there is nothing that you can do under the current system that's actually going to work. And this episode is going to be one of those. Strap in. This can be seen as a contrast to James Corbett's Solutions Watch, in which once a week he talks about what you can do right now to make a difference. And those are things that, yes, they're nice things to do. I will not even get started telling you how many of those things I have been engaged in over the last 20 years, thinking that that was going to be the way to make a difference. Because now I recognize just for me to say those things would be a form of virtue signaling. It would be saying, oh yeah, you can do what I'm doing. Yes, you can go grow your own food. Of course, first you need land, and that means you probably need a place to live, and you need to be able to do that without actually having a job, because if you had a job that actually got you a place to live, especially to own it, then you'd already be doing pretty well, which is better than everybody else seems to be doing. So you don't need that. You don't need to take on that responsibility. It frustrates me because do we really think that for the last 3,000 years, there haven't been people who knew a heck of a lot more than we did about how to grow food and how to be sustainable, and who had the energy and the skills and were good people, who were hardworking? Why did they fail? They failed because the system is set up to make sure that they fail. Every one of us has come from being indigenous to some place on the earth. And if we no longer live where our ancestors did, it's likely because they had to leave, because there was no way for them to be able to make a decent living off the land wherever they were. That's the problem that we need to solve. Otherwise, we're saying that we're better people than all of those billions who have gone before us and all of those billions who exist right now. That it's not just luck that we'd be able to scrape by with a living, but it's actually because we're good. And I don't think that we should buy into that. Today I watched James Corbett on how to be happy. And he started with the perfectly valid point that we don't need psychological studies that are going to tell us what makes us happy. Then he showed clips from 4 different people who he had interviewed talking about what is happiness. And these were 4 men and 1 woman who was someone's partner, but it's not that I'm jealous of Neil Oliver's deep Irish brogue that my ideas, I'm sure, would sound so much better in. But those people talked about happiness as being doing things for other people, making sure that other people are happy, improving the quality of other people's lives. I think that is a dangerous slope to go down because you are responsible for your happiness, no one else's. That isn't selfish. That is merely not taking your happiness and making it dependent on other people. Because if you give up your own happiness in order to make other people happy, you're going to end up resenting them if they're not as grateful as you think that they should be. And this is not the purpose. The purpose of our lives is to be happy and knowing what it is that makes you happy and taking responsibility for your own happiness, I think is the job of all of us. When you take responsibility for your own happiness, I think that that releases everyone else from having to make you happy. And that's a trap that couples get into in particular, where they sacrifice their own happiness for the other person. And often the other person expects them to sacrifice their happiness for them. One of my viewers, Helene, said, "Oh, I don't know what the occasion was for all the flowers last time, but I wish you happiness on that occasion." And I said, well, I hate to quote dumb pop songs, but I can buy myself flowers, and do, because flowers make me happy. And that's something that I think we need a lot of those little things. They always say that during a depression, one of the things that goes up is the sale of lipstick, because it's that little thing that people can feel good about. So many things are being taken from us. Our security, you can't afford health care, you don't know if your housing's going to be there next month, you don't know what's going to happen. So doing those little things that give you joy, is something that we should all do. My point here is that any change that you can be without changing the system is chump change, is the tiniest little tweak that everybody would do if they could, but they can't. And that's why we have to change the system, rather than exhausting ourselves with these little things that are not going to make a difference to them and are going to just make us feel like, okay, I've given up so much. This should be working. This is as much as I can possibly do. Instead, save yourself for the big things. Something that I often hear is, I want to buy your book, but I refuse to shop on Amazon. And I'm not just talking about you, Jeff, but this is something that we really should be examining. Does the amount of reduction of commerce that you withhold from Amazon for that one purchase out of 1 million that actually may be something meaningful, does that make the difference that is more than examining the social system and looking at a new economic system? I've been looking a lot at different political philosophies lately because of the, I have to say, furor over Nazism and fascism, and looking at the early discussions around what that revolution should look like, and that in different countries is fascinating. There were some very intelligent, articulate, observant people who were really looking at what is it that's going to make a difference. And I think we need to be paying attention to that sort of thing and taking my system and putting it up against them so that you can take the system that you think has the best chance of success and back it and imagine what it is that you would do under that system. So that's where I think we should be spending our energy, not in making these tiny little sacrifices that will not change anything. I will end with a personal story that maybe illustrates this point. My daughters are all in the working world now, and Amazon makes their lives possible, makes their lives easier, makes them enjoyable, gives them something to look forward to. And I will see what their purchases are because even though I rarely use it, I have the Prime account. So I don't judge. But then I saw a box of Kleenex come through. And I said, okay, this is too much. And I took that daughter to task. And what she told me is that when her new husband is crying over the mom that he lost 2 weeks after the wedding, because this is now the 1-year anniversary, and he has to blow his nose on toilet paper, when his mom always bought the softest form of Kleenex, it makes him cry even harder. And so because she doesn't go to drugstores or doesn't know where to even buy Kleenex brand, she ordered it in bulk on Amazon. And that was enough to make me say, forget it. I am going to stop judging other people for their decisions and say, you take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Do those little things that make you happy. We all have enough to be dealing with the big stuff. So don't sweat the small stuff. And in preparation for an exciting year of imagining what would be possible and how you would apply my system to the things that you want to change, let's start with build a new model, and this is how to be czar of your own fiefdom. Thank you for watching.